Okay, this is what we intend to do in this year. We will introduce a next generation step by step. That means we are not changing everything in one step, but we will take one type, introduce it, then comes the next, and that we will do the whole year. And you see we have two lines which are new. This is a RESU Prime line. These are new high voltage batteries. And then we have Resuflex, which comes at the end of a year. And this is a very flexible geometrical approach, which you will see in my presentation. All the low voltage battery will remain. They will not be changed. And therefore, we will not introduce this year a new generation of low voltage batteries. When we look to the market on the right, we see that there is an annual growth of at about 27% each year. That means in all regions of the world, we see that more and more people want to produce and saving their own energy by PV. And therefore, it's really a future market. And as I said in my beginning, more and more people are scaling up their system. They need more battery than in the past. I think that's really because the people plan to be independent or also independent from fuel for cars. In the moment, it's not so much the percentage of electrical cars, but I think the next 10 years that will sharply grow. Yeah, unfortunately, we have this COVID-19 period now, which is becoming the normal standard. So all the people who can work from home or should work from home will stay there, a higher percentage, and of course, consume more energy or at different times. When we look to the left side, we see that the curve of energy, depending on time, is a little bit shifted. The people are not waking up that early. They can, if they are working at home, then they can get up a little bit later, and therefore all the curve is starting a little bit shifted. When we see the overall consumption of energy in a household, we see that in the last period, more and more percentage of energy was consumed in the house, which is consequent. And therefore also batteries make sense since they are catching the energy from the sun. That's clear. Our RESU products are reliable, are designed for easy installation. We have a service covering whole Europe, two-level service. We have some engineers in the near Frankfurt, and we have also a first-level support which speaks Italian, German, and English. And user-friendliness is clear. All the batteries will be recycled finally, due to law, of course. For the new generation, we have a new cell, which you see in the middle. This is a pouch cell, and a pouch cell is always flat like a chocolate bar and has some poles on the one side and the upper side. The energy density of this cell was increased by 7.8% in comparison to the older one. That doesn't sound a lot, but when we go to the package, then you see we can increase 20% energy. This is quite a lot. On the right side, you see that we making responsible sourcing from the mining. That means we have certificates which we request from all the producers in the row and in the matrix. And of course, we have also reduced the cobalt content by 37% from the last generation. So you see, now it's time to have new products, and I will go to the RESU line, which comes this year. Here is the first unit, that's a 10H prime. It has 10 kilowatt hours. It can offer you a constant power of 5 kilowatt. And Peak power is 7 kilowatt, which lasts for several seconds. This can be scaled up. 2 units can be put in a row with one inverter, which is quite nice because then you can immediately go to 19.2 kilowatt hours without buying a new inverter. Today we have from the high voltage batteries 2 types. This is one, the type C for SMA and the type R for all the other inverter makers, because we have different protocols for the communication. C stands for CAN bus, which is used by SMA, and R is an abbreviation for RS485, and this is used by Huawei and SolarEdge and so on. But the prime times, they will not have 2 different hardwares. They can cover everything in one casing. That means you have to forget that there are different protocols. Everything is handled by one hardware. Of course, since the cell is there, we can reduce the savings of the consumption of the electronics inside of the battery, and we have an increased energy and efficiency in comparison to the old ones. What is important, we have also, which is shown here, just a moment, RESU monitoring. That means there is a device which can monitor the state of the battery. This has to be registered in the internet via WLAN, and then the end customer and also the installer can have a look inside of the battery and can check if everything is right, the consumption is right, or the cells are well balanced. This is an improvement, since in service cases you have access to this by this RESU monitor. Since we are going to higher capacities, we have higher weights, and therefore we stick to the modular design. You see here that we can build up the RESU 10H prime by 4 units, a connecting plate at the ground, 2 battery modules with 41 kilogram each, and a control unit at the top. So that means it's possible to reduce the number of installers to 1, since we have these components. This is a RESU monitoring. The end customer can go in a web-based application and have a look inside. And for the installer, we offer also an app-based installation, which he can use on his mobile phone. Here you see the properties. I will not go through everything, but you see also here we have a high voltage battery, and with a high efficiency over 90%. It's still very compact, and the depth is just 295 millimeters, and it can be used at -10 to +50 degrees. You know that you will, in the Netherlands or Belgium, normally not reach 50 degrees, but even at 50 degrees, you would get a 10 years warranty. That means the battery feels itself the most best at +10 to +25 degrees. And therefore you can be sure that you are always operating at the right temperature. We have a security of IP55. That means you can build the battery inside of the house or outside of the house. So it's possible to put it at a wall outside if the sun is not directly shining on the battery or some rain is dropping on it, but also, and which is recommended most, to use it in the utility room or in the cellular. After 10 years, we guarantee at least 70% of the initial capacity, but we are sure that it is clearly more than that. We will introduce this kind of batteries with SolarEdge, you see at the bottom, with SMA, and then following Sungrow Goodby and Solis. Then we will have a 16H prime. That means a very big battery. Today we have 7 and 10 kilowatt hours. In the future we will have 10 and 16. This is a consequence of the changed needs of the end customers, which need more and more capacity and energy. And therefore we have stopped or will stop the 7 kilowatt hour battery and replace it in giving 10 and 16 kilowatt hours. This battery here is available by the end of February. That means it can be ordered very soon. The 10H prime will probably come in May or June. And this one here, the 16H, has 7 kilowatt continuous power or 11 kilowatt peak power. Also, this can be scaled up by 2 units. And then we come to 32 kilowatt hours. This is quite a lot. And even if you have an electrical car, you can load your or change your energy from the battery to the car by a certain amount, or you can cover quite a long time for the energy using in your house. You see here also the specifications. Also here a small depth of 29 centimeters. Also here -10 to +50 degrees. That is always same. And also here we have a modular design. And therefore we have the modules with 65 kilograms. That's the maximum what has to be lifted. Also here we have Solar Edge, SMA, Sungrow, Goodby, and Solis in the beginning. And this type is of course more heavy. That means we do only allow floor standing. The 10H prime can be put at the wall and at the bottom, but the 60H prime is too heavy to be mounted on a wall. So just use it at the floor. Okay, and then we have a new line, which is called LG Resuflex. This will come at the end of the year. And you see here, this is a geometry looking like a box. It has also same temperatures and also the 10 years warranty with 70% after 10 years guaranteed. But if you look how this is composed, then you see that you also can use a cube or a line, which is hang and mounted at the wall. That means you have on the right side the BPU with the black bar on the right side, and then several modules which you can attach to this controlling unit. That means, for example, you can take the smallest system with 8.6 kilowatt hours. Then you come to these 3 different types of batteries. Or you take 3 modules resulting in 12.9 kilowatt hours. Then you can also take different combinations of the geometries. And also the last one, 17.2 kilowatt hours. Then you can take 2 boxes or put everything on the wall. So you have a lot of degrees of freedom by means of geometry. And therefore, it should be possible to install also very big capacities in one room. Here you see it a little bit in an animation. So 1 control unit and 2 battery modules. Then we have 3 modules, 4 modules. What we can also do is to double this with 1 inverter. And then you can use this combination with 1 inverter. And so that is why we are calling it Resuflex. Or you can take this kind of system with 4 modules, take another one at the wall, resulting in 34.3 kilowatt hours. And also there, you can take this system and run it with 1 inverter. So what inverters will we take first? We will start with Costal and Fronius because we don't have compatibility with them nowadays. Costal with Plenty Core, and Fronius with Gen 24. And so with this kind of system, you have really a lot of flexibility in terms of geometry, size, and also inverters. Yeah, this is what I wanted to show you. So now you have seen our current product line and what we intend to introduce this year.